Hello family, I'm Robert, I'm a real alcoholic. I want to welcome everyone to the Atlanta Step Up Society book study, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. I know that motto, change your thinking, change your life, is starting to set in people's consciousness now. So let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Again, I want to welcome everyone. Like half of our class is not here tonight. We got a lot of guys out on the trucks, and then we got a celebration up the street. So they might be coming in a little late, but just bear with them. Just somebody be a sentry over there and tell them keep the noise down, because they're going to be coming in here excited. I know I would. When I first learned how to work the 12 steps, I was very excited. You know, it was like changing my life. So without a lot of introduction, what I want to do tonight is let's just start in how it works. Now last week, we talked about logic and reasoning, and then we talked about faith. And I kind of, since I've been clean and sober, I can honestly tell you, for me, spirituality has been gradual. I think I grow. So I have a lot of spiritual awakenings versus spiritual experiences. And I can tell you one thing that I could really tell the difference in is I have taught this kind of study from page 0 to page 164, the program of recovery, I would say at least 50 to 60 times. 50 to 60 times. And I can honestly tell you, every time I have taught it, I get an entirely new wave of spirituality. What I teach this time is nothing compared to what I taught the last time I taught it. Every time I teach it, I've been lived and grew spiritually. That it's a whole new outlook. I'm learning the whole thing over again myself. It's not the same every time I do this. That makes sense? So with that in mind, I can honestly tell you, in my process, or shall I be at a certain position, I'm open-minded now to just be where I am and be comfortable with it. That makes sense? So I want to do a quick review. Last week we started on chapter 5, how it works. All right? So it says that rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Rarely means not often. All right? Not often have we seen someone fail who did the 12 steps, who did all the 12 steps, the entire consummation. They did them all, and you go back and you help others. Rarely have we seen that person fail. All right? Then we studied that it was really kind of 3 people, but it says those who do not recover. You know, I don't like to tell them, you're not going to recover. But the book says those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. We're talking about the 12 steps. You know, and then they got people who are mentally and emotionally have disorders in their mental life and their emotional life. But even those people can recover if they have the capacity to be honest. All right? So basically, if you're honest with yourself, right? If I meet people all the time that have been to 2 treatment centers, 3 treatment centers, 4 treatment centers, and they never worked the program. They never did the 12 step. That's considered a will not. That's a will not. I had people, since I have a recovery center, you know, and guys, I hear from it through the grapevine, you know, if they come in here and they leave or they relapse or something like that, they'll go somewhere else and they'll tell them, well, step up don't work. They'll blame it on the treatment center. But in reality, it has to be so complicated. This is not a complicated thing. If you're taught right, it's an easy process, and I'm going to teach you right. Okay? So we're not going to have any cannots or will nots in this program. All right? The next thing we talked about is balking. stopping short. Stopping short. And what they mean is, like, let's say a lot of people tell me they did steps 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. In our program, we call that the waltz. You know, that dance, you know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, relapse. 1, 2, 3, relapse. 1, 2, 3, relapse. That's a pause. And it's unnecessary. Because if you did step 1, 2, and 3, immediately you have to go into a 4th step. Immediately. As soon as you finish your 3rd step, the next thing you do is launch the 4th step. And the steps 4 through 9 are the house cleaning steps. Those are the house cleaning steps. If you don't do 4 through 9, you're not going to recover. You're not going to recover. Those are the house cleaning steps. All right? So if you balk, you stop short of completion. All right? That's the old saying that I used to hear all the time. Like, people do a good step 4 and good step 5, and then they quit. Then not just pray about it, feel like you got it. You know what I'm trying to say? And the best way, you know, like me, I smell my way into the feeling. Everybody different when you're up on this level. See, I know what bacon smell like, because I like bacon. So if I want something, like when I want a brand new car or something I want, or something I need and ain't harming nobody, I smell the bacon in there. So when I put my head inside the car, I said, "You been eating bacon?" I can smell it. They put me into the feeling though. See, other people use roses, or some people can just go automatic, but you gotta feel it. You gotta feel like you got the thing. So you know what I'm saying? So I would, so I know, I got a friend. He takes money and he smells it, cause it has an odor. I tried it a few times, but I got a sinus problem. It didn't smell like nothing to me. But so I couldn't use it. You know what I mean? So everybody got their own to get into the zone. That makes sense. So, because the whole universe operates on emotions. So, my daughter, I said, you have to feel like you the doctor. I said, you work in the hospital, what do it smell like? Is it something that always is a distinctive smell to you? And she told me what it was. I can't remember now, you know. But she said, every time I go in there, I smell this one peculiar smell, and I know it anywhere on earth. If I'm in Mexico, I can walk by and I can smell it instantly, and it's in me. I said, take that, when you go doing your examination, see yourself pass it, see yourself with the paper. Take that smell in there. The next time she was taking an exam, and she was doing good, she was only hitting and missing about 1 or 2 points. That's frustrating though. So she came up here, she called, I got it, I passed. She was so excited. I did what you said do, I did it for a month, and it worked. She took it to another level. She went to take her test with her medical uniform on. She had the doctor's uniform on when she went to take the test. She said, I'm not walking out of here unless I'm a doctor. I trained my family how to do this. She got it. Before she was going in there looking pretty. No, you need to be a doctor. That's what you want to be. Become the doctor. What I'm saying is, because you get superior. We're going into a whole new millennium. Yeah. Whole new way of thinking. Yeah. Yeah. You know? So that's what the 12 steps. All what I'm saying tonight, I told y'all it was fun. Y'all think this thing is hard, but I'm telling you, spirituality is fun. It's really, really fun. It's enjoyable. That makes sense? Yeah. So, I'd rather be enjoyable, happy, joyous, and free, than restless, irritable, and discontented. The choice is yours. You do this work, you will be happy, joyous, and free. I promise you that. I wouldn't be here talking like that had I not done this work. That makes sense? All right, I'm going to thank y'all for a good meeting. Measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Last week in the question and answer, I think Ron spoke about abandoning yourself to a higher power of God. And I want to talk about that for a few minutes tonight. You know, I'm at the point now in my recovery, because I've been in recovery a long time. And I can honestly say a lot of my recovery back and forth been a lot of God of reasoning, opening up a business and doing it with my mind and, you know, my wife's mind, and collectively putting all this stuff together. So it's a lot of reasoning, a lot of brain work, a lot of senses. You know, there's no complete abandonment to a higher power in it. Even though you pray and ask God, we pray and ask God to help us and give us this and give us that, we still have control. That makes sense? And when things get tight, money gets short, donations get real slow, now we're going to abandon the God. You know, higher power seems very, very delicious now. You know, that's a nice piece of chocolate cake, higher power. So it's like a pitch hitter.
Yes, sir.
Step in when the time is in the need. And that's okay too. Because I came from a life when I was drinking and drugging, living on the street, where I had nobody to pitch hit to. There was no God nowhere. Not even nothing for me to turn to. I had no conception of a higher power whatsoever. I even believe that people who went to church and talked about God were square and cowards in life. And I'm saying to myself, I'm thinking like that now that I look back about them, and I'm homeless. I had no conception whatsoever what life was about, but I had enough audacity to judge them and put them down. That's like a maggot on a rock telling a bird, you shouldn't be up there flying. You should be on a rock with me. But basically that's what kind of life we had. If you go outside and take a nice little stone, it's been raining a little bit rain today, and it's been down there for about 5 years, you know, they been turn it up and turn it over and see what you see. The little maggots. That's how I feel I live. I can't say y'all. Like a maggot on a rock. But the power that I know can go down there and pull that little maggot out and give it a good life. So I'm at the point now, in this last year, I became more open-minded. I go to a men's Bible study every Monday night. We break down the Bible from, well, this whole year we only studied the book of Genesis. And I grew tremendously because of the fact that I'm having the ability now to see the characters or the people in the Bible that they use, you know, like Abraham. I studied, we did Abraham so long that I became Abraham. You know, and I told y'all, every time I study something, I become a part of it. So I didn't have to look no a million years ago for no Abraham. I became Abraham. Abraham had the same defects I had. The only difference was every time Abraham would hit rock bottom, he was able to call on a God within him and rise him up, abandon himself to a higher power, and he come to a nation. He was promised everything. And he believed it and lived like that. Then you had Isaac, you know what I'm trying to say? And all the characters in the Bible. I just finished Joseph. Joseph was the type of person, and this is not a Bible class, but I'm talking about me. Because you have to be open and minded if you want to get a power greater than yourself. Right. I can't talk about y'all's. Right. I can talk about where I'm at. So how do I abandon myself? How did I get to be able to abandon myself to a power that's greater than me? Mm-hmm. What I found out, like Joseph, you know, his brothers sold him to the Egyptians, put him in a pit first, and went back and lied to the father that an animal got him. So they were liars, they deceived, just like you know what I'm talking about. Us. They lied, tried to kill the little boy, and they were jealous because he was better looking and the father loved him. And plus he told him that he was the man in a dream. He said, I'm better than y'all. Y'all gonna bow to me. Because his higher power worked in dreams and imagination. Then he told the father, even you gonna bow to me. So there was some stuff going on. And who you think you are? He was the youngest, you know. Yeah. So he got thrown in a pit and then sold in Egypt. He got taken away from his family. And I was looking at myself and said, how many years was I separated from my family? Same as him. Yeah. He was in slavery in Egypt. When I was on drugs and alcohol, I was in slavery in Egypt. No difference. No difference whatsoever. When he was down there, he had a power in him that he believed on. See, his God was passed on from generation to generation to generation. They didn't have no book to read. They didn't have no computer. They didn't have a lot of other stuff to talk and get you sidetracked too. So he had a God of his understanding that when he was in Egypt, when he was in the captain of the God's house. See, the captain of the God was an officer for the Pharaoh, bought him, and he had a lot of property and stuff. Joseph actually worked for him, but he saw the God in Joseph and ended up making Joseph in charge of everything he had. Because Joseph had a power that was greater than him. The wife tried to get to Joseph. Joseph said no. The guard threw him out of there and kicked him in the king's prison. He had everything going for him. He put him in the king's jail. The Pharaoh, that's what you call a king, you know, it wasn't, his name wasn't Pharaoh. That's like saying the president. The Pharaoh saw him. He was in the jail. He had nothing but God, his higher power. He interpreted to, and they start putting him, showing favor to him because they saw the God in him, and they put him in charge. The warden put him in charge of the entire jail. Everything that happened in the jail, he was the trustee, I guess, over the entire jail. Because all the thing he could depend on was a power that was greater than him. I remember being in some jail and everything, locked up in my mind. I wasn't physically in jail, but in my mind. If you walk in the street 3 and 4 in the morning with nothing to do, looking on the ground, you in prison. You just don't have no bars twang, but I'm in jail in my own mind. I'm not free. The difference between Joseph and I, we had the same experience. He said he wanted people to be kind to him. He was lonely from his family. I was too. I had them same feelings. Even though I was on crack at 4 in the morning, I had the same feelings. But he had a power greater than him, and I didn't. I believed in something outside of me. I didn't have no power during that time to raise me up. I believe, but I'm cracked out, homeless. I'm an agnostic. You got to show me. I need proof. What kind of proof you need? My life was already proof enough to know that I was living without one. You know, it was already rocked out. But I didn't have a power greater than myself. And I'm seeing this, and my life, the God in me is allowing me, or the Holy Spirit allowing me to become those characters. But I refuse. I don't care what happened today. I don't care what I do, how bad the circumstances might look. I'm going to have a higher power in low spots and high spots. See, when I get back to the book. And he reassembled his family back. He got in charge of the entire Egypt. He interpreted 2 dreams for the king. One about some cows, the other one about some grain. 7 years of abundance, 7 years of famine. Told him how to do it. Collect 5% during the good years and pass it out. His brothers had to come to him to get the grain, and they bowed down. Dream came true. His dad and he went back and forth. And see, I had the same experience of reuniting with my family after all them years of bondage. You don't go back. You might watch a TV show or Good Morning America, Oprah, where they go and hug and all that. They ain't how it's done. You gotta, y'all know. You gotta ease in there and pull back. Ease in there and pull back. You run in there you want to, you're gonna get your feeling hurt. So it's an emotional thing that takes place. He had to do that too, because he was human. Even though he had a power greater than himself, he still was human. So I end up being that person. That makes sense? So my life now, when they says right here, half measure availed us nothing, we stood at the turning point, we asked his protection and care with complete abandon. That's surrender, to give up or to withdraw from. One thing I have not done, and I could be very honest with y'all because it's going to help me. This is the truth. Since I've been in recovery, now that I know what God is, you have to know. God is my wonderful, beautiful human imagination. God is the creativity, energy, the force that creates everything. Everything. God's in everything. When that man Joseph was in the pit, God was there. They saw it in him. When he was being in the God's house, they saw it in him. No matter where we are, God is with each and every last one of us. The thing I have not done, and I make this open to the entire world, I have never ever stood and made 100% decision to completely abandon myself over to God. Without no regret. I haven't tried that. I went halfway, 3/4 of the way. But I never made do that turning point, you know what I'm trying to say? Just say, you know what, I'm going to just do this 100% no matter what. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. No matter what, I'm going to try. So I want to see if I've been blessed up to this point. I'm not trying to do it for a blessing. It's just something I want to do. I just want to give it a 100%. So now I got to change my thinking. Because I'm striped like a zebra. It's good and bad in Robert. I don't know about y'all. But it's good and bad in here. But see, I was talking to a friend today. I have an opportunity to choose the sinless Robert that will bring me joy and happiness, or the sinful Robert which will bring me pain. So I can look at situations today and say, you know what? Let me take the sinless route on this thing I'm about to do. Or let me take the sinful route and get some pain. So I didn't have this where I'm at last book study. But I can honestly look back at my life. I'm pretty sure if you're honest with yourself, and have you ever just 100% tried God 100% like they did in this book, in the Bible? I never did that. But it's about time. I would love to give it a try, and I'm going to try it. I would like to walk places and people say, he got the God in him. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Walk by in the hills, people sick just get healed because I walk by. Now that's possible. I'm going to tell y'all something. I had an opportunity to be in like a convention thing, you know, with dinner, and Muhammad Ali came in there. And when he walked by, his presence was felt all through the room. You ever been around some stars like that? Or the celebrities, the whole thing, that energy, you can feel them. I'm pretty sure if anybody, when Michael Jackson used to walk by, people used to faint. They will faint. Why can't I do that? I mean, I don't really want to do that, but I really want to feel like I'm doing it. But if I shoot, but listen to this, if I shoot for that goal, if I never accomplish, I'll be better than I am today. Because I have to change my thinking to get there. That makes sense? But it can be done. It's not out of reach. So that's what we mean by complete abandonment. Completed 100%, ain't it? Not 82% or only on Sunday. You know what I'm trying to say? Or an hour, get all holy an hour before the book study when you're studying. You know what I'm saying? No, it got to be complete abandonment. People look at me like, you ain't gonna be able to do it. No, it can be done. All you got to do is change your thinking. All right, but we still in the book. See, I didn't leave the paragraph. All right, Wayne, I'll go ahead and do these. Now I'm going to look at the steps. It says that page 59, everybody got a book? If you're not, there's some on the table. Cheryl, come in here 20 years clean with no book. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. Let's talk about the word suggested. Now, I'm going to explain it to you like this. This is just me. In the military, or if you ever jumped out of an airplane, they'll give you a parachute, right? Yeah. Now the parachute, you was in the military, right, Tom? You know, parachute over there captures air. So when you jump out, it boop, open up, and you see this big old umbrella-like thing, and it slow down, get full of air, and you ride down. Because the air there. In the military one, there's no holes in it. Just big old green canvas. I remember that, jumping out of the airplane. Now this is what drill instructors used to tell us. If you jump out and your parachute open, and you see a cloud up there, or a bird flying over you, I suggest you pull that second ripcord for the other one. You know what I'm saying? That backup one, I suggest you pull that if you see some clouds, because you got a hole in your shoe. That backup one gonna save your life, because it's broke. So when it comes to talking about, here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program recovery, I suggest you do them. There's not a softer, easier way. This is just as important as pulling that ripcord. If you don't do them, you got the hole in your shoe. You finna die. You came too far now not to do them. Nothing is a mistake. That makes sense. I came too far in my life not to try God 100%. Step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Basically, it's in two parts. I'm going to briefly do this. I'm not going to do the principle behind it because I don't see the principle on the page. But there is principle behind it. But I think newcomers to the 12 step, I try not to do the principle right now, simply because of the fact it's like me telling you, if you don't have a driving license and you never drove, but you planning to drive cross country, you gonna drive across country in a car. You in the steering wheel, but you never drove before. I wouldn't go on that trip with you. Don't you need to learn how to drive and get a license first? So all I'm teaching today is the driving instructions so you can get a license. Don't be trying to drive or go across country. And I say that for some of the people in step, y'all going too far. You need to be right here. First step deals with the disease of addiction. Talks about the mental obsession and the physical allergy. If I put any drugs in my body, it's going to trigger the allergy and the craving begins. And I'm on a well-known spree. And it gets so bad that the craving is beyond my mental control. Don't worry about it. We're going to do a review one day soon, and we're going to do the whole process. We're going to take a pause somewhere and then, you know, for an hour, break them all down. I'm just doing a review tonight. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Still with that chapter in agnostics. When you come up, basically you have to come up with your own conception of God. And you must be open-minded. God is all-inclusive. I can't tell you how to get your own conception of God. But step 2 is in like a being open-minded enough to not be closed-minded about a power that's greater than yourself. That makes sense? Well, especially when people telling you that they found a God of their own understanding and they're using the God today and the God is working. So you have to come to and then come to believe. All right? And one way to really come to believe is look at where you've been. If you look at and be honest about where you're coming from, then you probably need a power that's greater than you to take you forward, even if it's just the rooms, or the fellowship, or the treatment. Stay. Believe in it. Have faith in it. And nobody asking you to have faith where you can move no mountain. Just have faith you can get clean and sober just for the day. All right? Made a decision, step 3, to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood them. All the way back through mankind, people had their own God and they understood them. I really seeing that today. And they had him and they were with him. And I tell you one thing, it wasn't no picture on no wall. Turn your will, that's your thinking. You can write that on top of the word will. And your lies, that's your behavior. You can write that down because we're going to be in step 3. That's where we at in the book when we finish off with this. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. What we do here is we're going to pass out the sheets. You're going to do column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. The first thing you're going to work on is your resentments. You're going to write a list, column 1, of all the people all the way back through your life to you, the little kid, that you had a resentment against. You write the name. 1, then you're down to number 50, then 60, and then 70 people, 80 people, whatever it takes, just the names. Then column 2, you go back to the first person, you write down the causes. Why, what kind of resentment you have. Like if you got your mama, no, your significant other, your husband, or your boyfriend, don't come up with no one cause, one reason why. How you going to be living with somebody for 10 years and you ain't got but one resentment? Impossible. That's why you need a sponsor. Easiest off the way don't work. You got 20 on that person right now. You write it down. Then you go to person number 2. Write down the causes all the way through the 70 people. Then you go to column 3 where it affects me. Self-esteem, pocketbook, ambitions. I can't remember them all just off the top of my head, but it's a lot, it's a list. You do that. Then you go to column 4, which is the most beautiful part of them all. You have to put what part you played. Where I was selfish, dishonest, fearful, frightened, and inconsiderate. And that's when you start writing. It's like a paragraph you write. It's going to be redundant, but you have to do that for every cause you have on every person. So if you got 10 calls on your significant other, you're going to have 10 sheets on them. That's step 4. It's all about you. You got to put out some time, take your hour a night, sit down and do the work. If you don't do the work, you will not get the results. Cause and effect. You'll never know. You got 400 resentments in your head and you talking about Jesus, I love you. No, you don't. You love resentments. Because you're afraid to let them go. People, it was so bad, I had resentment so bad, I was resenting people and they were dead. And I was still mad at them. They were gone. But I'm holding on to it. And we're proud of it. I'm still resentful over him. Dumb. Resentment is the number one offender in recovery. It kills more alcoholics and addicts than anything else. So walking around all puffed up because you got resentment, you're finna die. That's the inventory. You do your own personal inventory. Step 5, you admit it to God, ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So what you do there is you got all these column 4 papers. You take those column 4 papers in front of your sponsor. You might have to meet once or twice a week, and you go through everything. And your sponsor gonna carry a box of tissue to the meeting. Because he know or she know you gonna cry. But when you see, the beautiful thing is, once you get the garbage out, that's when the Spirit of God shows up for you. The Spirit of God comes at the 5th step. I have literally seen it happen. Step 6, when entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. It's like a willing step. There's no real format for step 6. It's kind of like going to Home Depot. You go to Home Depot, you buy a camera, or you buy a chainsaw. In the box of the camera, we were talking about this earlier, and in the box of the chainsaw, it will have a manual with some instructions in it. It will have a manual with some instructions in it. Step 6 and 7 is basically just like buying a shovel. You go pick up a shovel, there is no instruction. You put your foot on it and you push down. If it rocks there, you better wiggle it somewhere where you can get it in there and push down. There is no instruction for it. Don't care which way, whatever. You got to figure that one out on your own. Because really it's simple. Step 6 is like that. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. How do you know what defects of character you have? Because you've seen a pattern of what you do and what you've been doing all your life from the 4th step. That's where you see what these defects of character is. If you haven't done a 4th step, you don't even know what your defects of character are. You whistling in the dark. That's what we call it in the 12 steppers. Humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. Now here's the deal. In step 3, it said we made a decision to turn our thinking and our lives over to the care of God that we understood. We don't really know what we're turning over. Our thinking and our behavior over to the care. But once you do all this work, it changes. You know what these defects of character are now. You know, you say, look, this sexual conduct that I've been doing, before I didn't really know, and now I see it every time I play the same game. All this big shotism, I take my rent money, when I got paid, go into the bar, Big Willie, buy everybody drinks. Need it, because I got low self-esteem. You know, it's on there too. So I got to feel good. So I people please. I buy everybody all the time. They happy, I'm happy. Leave the bar, oh Lord have mercy. I can't even pay my rent. I blew the money. That's a defect of character, especially when you did it 100 times. So now when you get in 12 step, you get ready to go somewhere, and it happens. You can go on a date, you got paid, you got $80 to make it all the way through the next week, including a motor car and lunch. Since you Big Willie, you go on a date, you spend all $80 of that right there on that one date. All week long, you bumming. clean and sober, and living in a treatment center. Got to go to this other guy who made $80 with you and bum from them. Because you were big with it. Same defect as before, and nothing changed. That's why you need to ask God to remove some of this stuff. It's still there. Step 8, made a list of all persons we have harmed and became willing to make amends to them. We're going to make a list. We're going to make a list. The people we're going to make amends to now, going to make on the same sheet of paper. This going to take about 2 hours because you got all the people from your 4th step. Make a list of people you're going to do now, later, maybe, and never. You ain't never going to do them. And you start filling in the blank. How you become willing to do it is because you're going to put the easiest people down first. You know, your brother, somebody, you know, you ain't going to put somebody that you stole $1,000 from, no drug dealer down first. You won't do it. I owe the IRS a lot of money. So I was taught to put the easy one first. If I would put the IRS first, I wouldn't finish no list, because I wasn't doing them. I want to go get them nothing. If I could have run for the rest of my life, that's what I would have did. I had no reason, no intent, no whatsoever of paying them. Nothing. But what happened was, I got spiritually tricked. I did the nouns, then that noun list was exhausted, then the later list become the noun list. I did all that, and the maybes become the noun list. And I did all that. When I got to the never list, I had 2 or 3 things on it, it became noun. And I was willing by this time to do it because I seen the power of God work. That's in step 9. Made direct amends to certain people wherever possible, except when to do so will injure them or others. I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. The very first amend I did was my aunt. She's deceased now. I went to my aunt's house. She had arthritis, you know, in the fingers like that, in the hands, and she was wheelchair bound and bedridden. Now, by me being the oldest nephew, when I was using, I was to move in her house and take care of her, you know, because she was really in bad shape and they needed a man there. Little did they know they wasn't getting a man because it was me. And I was using. They were getting a gray head. You know. So I went over there and I had people coming in and out that house. And, you know, looking back, it's sad. I didn't know who they were, but I was there. And she would be in the bedroom calling my name, Greg, because, you know, that's my dead name, Greg. But I mean by dead, I don't use that no more, because that was my username. This is my middle name, but it's gone. Ain't no Greg here, you know? So, and some of y'all will understand that later on. So what I did was, I abused the whole situation there. So I owed her amends, and I owed her 1 week room rent, you know. So when I got clean and sober, I went there. First amend I did, I owed her $75. I was in treatment. No, I got a treatment, but I didn't have money. I didn't have no store. I had a job working, making $4 an hour. I went there and I had her money in my pocket, and I called her and told her I was coming over to the house, and you know she's always a kind lady. So she already forgave me. It's like a year later, you know. And I went there and I said, I'm going to make amends to you. And I told her what I was doing. Yeah, you know, I'm reading the book, and the book said if I don't make amends to these people, I will not stay clean. It said if you don't make amends, you're going to relapse. So I didn't want that to happen. So I started my amends list. She was the very first person. And I go there, and I had the money, and I told her what I was doing. She told me, hold up, she's in the bedroom, I was in her bedroom. I want you to go on the kitchen table, and there's an envelope there from a man in Alpharetta, Georgia. He's saying he's making an amends, and he sent me a check. Now, this very first amend. So I go, and if y'all don't believe in higher power, then you probably need to get out this room. But this is real. I go in there and I get the check and I come back and I read it to her. It's a guy that had a roofing company in Alpharetta. Oh no, I take that back. Yeah, a roofing company and a tree company combined. He's supposed to do some work for her to cut the tree down and repair her roof. She paid him. He ran off years ago. She couldn't even remember the incident. It's been so long ago. He was in AA. He was making amends. He sent her a check for $10,000 to repay his amends to her. He sent it to her. I was making amends, and here was this other man making amends. She asked me, the same one who robbed her, to take the check and deposit it in her account, and I did. And she told me to keep my $75. Boy, I was so, it worked. It worked. I had my confirmation. Then I started running through that now list. I owed another guy some money. I went to painting, right? And I owed him. I was supposed to paint his job when I was using, but he lived right across the street from my mama. I couldn't keep walking in there, you know, in and out her house, and he was looking out the window. I had to make amends to him so I can be on my mama's street safe. You know, that's common sense. I went over there and I painted his house. He gave me some more money because he understood. So it's working. Then I got to, you know, the block somewhere. Everything going too godly. You know, so I get to a block, my brother, me and him had a little construction company going together. He was still using. I wasn't. So we owed some people together. So I go, and they tell me without injuring others, right? So I go and say, look, I'm going to go over here and make some amends. I'm talking to my brother, right? And, you know, we stole the money together. You know, he was using. He said, I don't give a damn what you do. I ain't giving them nothing. You know? So that kind of men I didn't even put him in. You know what I'm saying? I just went on there and they asked me, well, where your brother at? I don't know. I ain't seen him. I'm just here to do my amends. I didn't want to put him in it. He didn't want to be in it. I wasn't going to injure him, you know what I'm saying? He didn't want to do it. But later on, 3 years, after I got 3 years clean, he came in recovery. He stayed clean like 11, 12 years till he passed away not too long ago, 3 or 4 years ago. But the bottom line is he didn't want to do it. So the amends were working. Then I'm feeling real spiritual. All right, that's step 9. So what I'm trying to portray to you is like when you go to a lot of, I don't know about now or y'all, because I still go to the fellowship, but I still don't hear nobody telling you how they did this stuff. They'll tell you there is a step 9, right or wrong? There is a step this, there is a step, they don't tell you how they do it. I even went to the graveyard with my grandfather, my uncles, and all that. I wrote letters and stood in front of their graves and made amends. Then it says, made a direct man to such people wherever, not whenever, wherever. I was walking downtown one day, and I saw a guy that I needed to make amends to. He was on the other side of the street, and I was on this side. And I kept hearing that, whatever. And he was still walking. He said, whatever, whatever. I was like, I don't want to do this. Whatever, whatever. And I crossed the street and made amends to him. Because it did say wherever, not whenever. Step 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Step 10 is really a step 4 through 9. Doing a step 4 through 9, the house cleaning steps. So let's say I get in an argument with somebody today. I got to immediately, and go back to write down a little 4th step, what part I played, why I was selfish, inconsiderate, dishonest, you know what I'm saying? Admit to God, myself, and another human being. Ask them to remove my defect, go right back to the person and make amends. Now step 10 is so beautiful. If you walk around a year, step 10 in all day long, maybe you need to change. Because you'll see yourself doing the same behavior and making the same amends. That's insane. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting something different. So you get to see that pattern. You're like, oh, let me change. All right. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. Consciousness is in your mind. God is invisible. I don't know how you can see someone's spirit, but people say it all the time. It's invisible. You know the power because you got the ability to create from your mind and let stuff manifest. You can be so good with the power greater than yourself. You can change other people. Other people tell me they don't have a job. You can see them in your imagination. Put them to work. Don't let them know. They'll call you and say, man, I got a job. I said, I knew it. That's how good you could be. You could change people's lives without them knowing it. God is all over. It's all inclusive. There's only one. One God, one body. No, I don't want to go too far. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. That's how I understand Him. Praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. If I'm praying for the knowledge of His will and then the power to carry it out, who's going to carry it out, Him or me? Me. So I got to know what it is in order to perform the action. That makes sense? So this was a beautiful step for me because I did it a lot of years. I was praying a different type of prayer. I was praying more of a petition type prayer. I call it begging prayer. Begging, God, give me this and I do that. Then I started learning how to pray from what I wanted and not for what I wanted. That makes sense? If I wanted, as long as it don't hurt anybody, I'm saying it's okay. If I needed a better automobile because mine about to break down, I wouldn't pray for the automobile because that's why I got the broken automobile now. Because I kept praying for an automobile. I would pray from the one I want. So it worked. I'm going to break it down to you. This has nothing to do with boasting, nothing. I wanted a white Escalade. Diamond white. Let me be corrected. That's what I wanted.
Brand new.
I didn't say brand new though. I said I wanted one. I even put the picture up there in the wall. Probably still up there. And I wanted a white watch. What was it? I think it's Chanel. The Chanel white watch to go with the white car. Kept it up there. That's what I wanted. I used to drive that car at night when I go to sleep.
Yes, sir.
Whenever time I went by somewhere, y'all think I'm crazy now. I'll go somewhere to Publix or something, I see somebody in a white Escalade. I said, man, let me see that car. I got one just like it.
Yes, sir.
Yours is a little different from mine. He didn't know I had one. I be in my black pickup. Pull right next to it. Your rim a little different from mine. You know, I got you got my wife.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Almost like mine. Go. One morning I got up. I said, I ain't going to work today, baby. She said, where you going? I said, I'm going to get my white Escalade. I feel it. He said, you ain't going to get no white Escalade. Yes, I am. I got up and I drove up to Marietta, Parkway. I got off. I walked in there. I told the man, I walked the lot first looking for it. They didn't have it. I went into the salesman and said, yo, I come to get a white Escalade. I had saved up some money, so I had cash in my pocket. He said, we don't have a white Escalade. I said, can you? He said, I might can order you one. I said, well, I'll take a look. I wasn't in no internet car. I ain't never did that before. You don't put nothing, I ain't no, this ain't Amazon.com. So When we were sitting in the office, here come one. Had the dealer tags on it. I said, there go one. That's the one I want. He said, oh no, that belongs to the boss. That's the owner car. So, look, they say dealer. I said, I ain't talking to you no more. I walked out of there and I waited on the boss to come. He come running behind me. You can't walk. Yes, I can. Yo, yes, I can. You can't. I can't. I don't work here. I'm trying to buy. I ain't got to kiss butt. So the man pulled up. This true story, y'all. He told the man I wanted to buy that car. He had just put $10,000 rims on the car. That's where he was coming from. The man thought, he said, he got to be something wrong with him. This, you know. He told him, bring him in my office. The man asked me what my name was. Told him my name. He said, what you do? I said, I own Atlanta Step Up Society. We help the people in recovery and this and that. He said, Atlanta Step Up? My wife donate to y'all. Sell him the car. Got the car up 25% off, and it threw in the $10,000 rim. I ride, I pulled right up there. My wife was, whoa! Let me die. I had a what's it? Expedition. I left it up there. I didn't take no paperwork out, nothing. I just drove away. I got that. No, I wasn't test driving. I was gone. I didn't care. I told my wife, you got to get in the car and go get that old thing up there. I was through. So all I'm telling you, it worked, y'all. It worked. That's how I pray now. And I highly suggest you pray from that end. Because Jesus did say something about don't stop playing like the heathens. That's the power. God says already complete. That's the power you have. Step 7, I'm all way. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. See, you get the spiritual awakening from step all the above, all the other 11. You don't get it for just doing 2 of them. You got to do all the 12 steps. And then you got to carry this message to alcoholics. You can't pick and choose. Well, I don't like this one because of the color of his skin. I don't like this one because he weigh too much. I don't like this one because he look like he ghetto. That ain't what it says. It said carry the message. Yeah. Point blank. Ain't no choosing. Picking and choosing. So I'm going to stop right there. But I want to give y'all one more example then. You know, you have to. All right, I want to go over the hour though. Okay. Let me tell you about my daughter on this prayer thing. You know, I'm getting your permission, Latoya, to do it. So she was studying for an exam for a anesthetist, and she was having a hard time. So she went a couple times. So we was commuting and we were talking, and she's a believer. So I said, well, let's change the prayer. Me and her talking. She's a little discouraged. Let's change the prayer. I said, well, why don't you do this? Because you have to feel it. You got to feel like you got the power. See, it's in the feeling.